This is the Allman Report. Coming up, a well-known Democrat defects from the party. He's going to be with me from Jefferson City. The state auditor wants to stop MoDOT from taking airplane joyrides. And Congresswoman Ann Wagner talks about Republican infighting. The Allman Report starts right now.
From the ABC St. Louis studios, this is the Allman Report.
A blue-collar North St. Louis County Democrat is turning in his party badge. Representative Keith English saying he's had enough of being punished for siding with Republicans in supporting tax cuts and beyond. He joins us now from Jefferson City. Representative English, so what exactly is going on here, and what party are you going to, my friend?
Well, at 12:15 today, I've announced I've on your show first. 12:15, I become an independent. I'll be able to speak for both sides of the aisle, like I have for the first 2 years in the state legislature. As you stated in your opening statement there, that I'm being punished again for a vote I took last year. Not only that, but I'm being pushed to the side, kicked out of the Democratic Party for being a pro-life, for speaking for those born and unborn, and also for tax bills and for the Second Amendment rights. The Democratic Party has changed. It's not your Bill Clinton. It's not your Harry Truman Democratic Party anymore. And when I signed on 2 years ago, I came up here to try to add a little bit more open-mindedness to the Democratic Party. As you are very well aware, there's only going to be one pro-life Democrat left in the Missouri legislature. And we had one pro-life Democrat leave in December and join the Republican Party. And I think I could best represent the people of the 68th District on the independent side of this whole issue with one side or the other.
Now, Keith English, what began all this was you providing a key vote when Republicans were voting to override the Nixon veto of tax cuts. You were a firm believer in tax cuts, but ever since then, your life has been made miserable, including to the point where you're being harassed for where your office happens to be in the Capitol.
That's correct, Jamie. Last year, as you know, that right after I voted to override the governor on the tax bill, I was stripped of committees. Now, the only way that you're to be stripped of your committees is if you go against a caucus position. Once again, the Democrats didn't take a caucus position on this. They wanted us to be able to represent our district. I polled my district on 509 and also the 72-hour abortion ban and other issues, and I came back to Jefferson City after I did the poll and voted my district. I was stripped of committees. I was asked if I wanted to sit on committees all summer, on interim committees that had to do with all different types of things to represent my district, and was not able to sit on any committees. And then here we go again. We're almost in February, and I'm still not on committees.
Now, I guess it depends. You're going to be caucusing with whom? Sometimes the Democrats, sometimes the Republicans, depending on the issue?
Well, I don't believe I'll be caucusing with the Democrats. I think I'll be caucusing with whatever the issue is. There'll be labor caucus meetings with labor issues. As you know, Jamie, I'm against right to work, and I'll fight very hard, again, like I have the last 2 years against right to work. I'll be fighting for the Second Amendment rights. I'll be fighting for the abortion issues that come up, as I'm a Christian and believe in being a voice for those born and unborn.
I think I know the answer to this, because I think you kind of answered it there. But is there a reason why you just didn't go right to the Republican Party?
Well, my district, although I do vote, maybe a little slight right of center, I just feel that I'm best suited to be an independent. When I was on the Florissant City Council, I fought very hard as an independent. We're nonpartisan. I fought against Walmart getting tax breaks and the tax incentives, TIFs and SIDs. And then I was over there fighting for businesses and keeping the tax rate low, fighting for jobs for the men and women to make a good, honest wage and to have a little left over when they retire. I'm up here defending everybody in my district, not just one party.
And now I guess the other question I want to be able to ask you then at this point is, from here forward, are you going to be able to keep your office? Are you going to be up there on the third floor still? Like, what happens to Keith English from here?
Well, I'm going to stay right where I was at. Apparently the rules were brought to my attention about the third floor office after I'd moved into my office. There was a conversation held, but nothing was happened about that back in December. And now they want to strip me of my committees, not give me any for 2 years while I'm up here, and I've got to be able to represent my people. We never voted on rules since I've been here. I never got a copy of the rules. You know, we've had Tashara Jones, Democrat. We've had Rodney Hubbard, Penny Hubbard. We've had our own Senator Jamil Nasheed in the same office suite that I'm in. Those rules were not implemented or enacted until after the last go round, and now they want to punish me. So it was said in a meeting or two that I should be kicked out of the Democratic caucus for the 509 override. As you know, Jamie, we had a lot of votes were overridden during the veto session, and it took a lot of Democrats to override 33 bills that the
All right. Well, Keith English, I'll tell you what, it's a rarity to have somebody exhibiting such independence down there in Jefferson City, and it's been a courageous move on your part. So, Keith English, thank you very much for joining us. Best of luck to you as an independent in Jefferson City, and thank you very much, sir. Still to come, Aisha receives an email from stadium task force officials. It raises more questions than it answers. But first, your national headlines.
If you want to connect with the Allman Report online, visit us on Facebook or stop by our website, abccstlouis.com. Drop us a line or tell us what you think at #AllmanReport.
And welcome back, everyone. You know, lately it seems state and local officials love to email the Allman Report and Aisha Khan and on and on. This time it's from Governor Nixon's Stadium Task Force, this email. The task force statement from Jim Woodcock saying, the Rams told us today of their decision to engage in an annual one-year lease with the CVC, as well as their submission of petition signatures for the ballot initiative in Inglewood. We appreciate the Rams personally informing us of their decision here in St. Louis, as well as their filing in Inglewood. Neither of these actions was unexpected, nor do they have any effect on our stadium plans for the North Riverfront of St. Louis. Retired NFL linebacker and Mizzou alum Demetrius Johnson had this to say about the situation.
I'm just disappointed that there are some folks in St. Louis who let the Rams leave. That would be a major financial impact, negative impact on this community. We need to keep the Rams here at every means necessary. Kroenke's going to do whatever he has to do to try to keep, make money. We understand that. It is truly disappointing that there's a thought of moving the Rams out of here, because the Rams embraced the Los Angeles Rams and brought them here and gave them everything they wanted. I guess it's like anything else. When you give them too much, they want even more. I'm really disappointed in that.
Meanwhile, there's a bill bandied about in Jefferson City that would make it more difficult for the governor to extend the bonds for that new stadium. Now, let's roll with the Allman Report newsreel. Demetrius Johnson, Mayor Slay, and a local union are teaming up for a minority job training program. It will teach skills to young men and women selected from the high poverty and often high crime areas of St. Louis.
With all the violence that's going on in our community, a lot of young men and women, African-American young men and women in the community, they feel there's nowhere to go. They have no hope. Nobody's giving them opportunities. This is a chance to give them hope and opportunity to change their lives and make a difference in their lives.
That sweetheart deal with a music festival company looks like it's backfiring. Hollywood agency ICM Partners has now turned around and canceled 2 downtown music festivals. But the mayor's office says, hey, no big deal.
No, we did not. We did not have anything firm in place for some of those dates. So there was nothing lost in this place. It was really a high reward, low risk venture for the city.
The O'Fallon, Missouri Police Union is suing the city. Officers want the city to honor their contract, calling for 4 10-hour shifts. The city had reassigned them to 3 12-hour shifts per week. More Ferguson looters caught on surveillance videos. You can see them here, released by the St. Louis County Police Department. They're climbing over the counter. This is Mickey's gas station on Old Halls Ferry Road. State Auditor Tom Schweik says, hey, MoDOT, hey, Department of Natural Resources, hey, government, drive more, fly less, how about it? His audit shows not only does the state have too many planes, it's misusing the ones it has. He says the departments could save almost $400 grand combined by driving instead of flying the bigwigs to their little meetings. Coming up, the Allman Report weather and Congressman Ann Wagner with landmark legislation and a report on infighting in D.C. Hey, welcome back. Does modern day slavery exist right here in the U.S.? Well, Congresswoman Ann Wagner joining us about that and other stuff brewing in the nation's capital. Big day for a bill being pushed through by Congresswoman Wagner, and it was voted on, passed, and you're celebrating, at least although in defense of those who are involved in sex trafficking. Thank you for joining us, Congresswoman Ann Wagner.
Thank you, Jamie. Great to always be with you and your viewers, especially on a historic day like today.
So what happened?
So today, the House of Representatives is passing historic numbers of legislation, 12 different pieces of human trafficking legislation, all of them very specific to go after different areas, new areas, to stop what you did call the truth, modern day slavery, sex slavery in the United States of America. You know, Jamie, I was a United States ambassador for 4 years, and I dealt with this issue of human trafficking on an international level. But never did I realize how prevalent sex slavery and human trafficking was in my own country of the United States of America. It is hiding in plain sight. It is in every neighborhood, every faith community, every school, every cul-de-sac. St. Louis is ranked sadly as one of the top 20 in the nation for human trafficking. It's hiding in plain sight, Jamie, and my piece of legislation in particular goes after those that are commercially advertising and knowingly advertising the exploitation, the victimization, the sex slavery of children. The average age of the minors and the children, upwards of 300,000 at risk in the U.S., is 13 to 14 years old. So the SAVE Act goes after those that are advertising, especially those that are online advertisers, like Backpage.com and others that advertise these women and drag them down into the dark abyss. There are young boys that are also exploited and victimized, but more often than not, they are young girls, children, and women who are being forced into this and kept in bondage and coerced. So the SAVE Act will go after those advertisers. It's a $9.5 billion industry, and advertisers like Backpage and others are making millions of dollars every month off of victimizing and exploiting women and children.
Well, that's crazy. I mean, it seems like it's well overdue and about time, and certainly congratulations on getting some movement here in the protection of these children. Can I ask you a really quick question about something that happened last week? I know you have been responsible largely for helping elect many of our brand new female representatives, and then this abortion bill or this abortion initiative came up, and there was a certain level of, I guess, I don't know whether you could call it defection, but disagreement within the ranks of the female Republicans. How are you coming away thinking about this? What's the final word on what exactly is going on here and what happened?
Well, this happened on what was called the 20-week pain-capable bill, and what the focus needs to be on this piece of legislation, which I am very hopeful is going to still move forward at some point in time after it goes through the proper process here legislatively in Congress, is that it protects the life of a 5-month-old child that feels pain. We know and believe that a child at 20 weeks, 5 months, not only recognizes the sound of its mother's voice, but also feels pain. And the question is, we should not be aborting children that at this age and stage that feel pain. There were exceptions that were put in for this, rape and incest and life of the mother. The only exception that I would agree with, I would tell you, for a 20-week-old child, Jamie, is life of the mother. And I think those abortions are very infrequent, but we want to make sure we get this legislation correct. The women in our conference did lead the way on many of these issues, and many of the men too. So we were able to pass another piece of legislation that made sure that there were no taxpayer funds going towards abortion, either in Obamacare or through our appropriations process. We got bipartisan support for that legislation, and we're able to move H.R. 7 last week. I do believe we'll get back to the pain-capable bill at some point in time, but I was glad that the women in our conference led the way, along with some other really very strong men, in making sure that we go about this thoughtfully and think about the child, the 20-week-old child.
I guess there were some indications that people people didn't want to be able to stomach some of the elements that included police report filings and that kind of thing. But I'm sure you all will eventually work that stuff out. Congresswoman Ann Wagner, thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate you as always. Still to come, my final word on some of the crazy reactions to the state audit, including the audit of MoDOT. Straight ahead.
If you want to connect with the Allman Report online, visit us on Facebook or stop by our website, abccstlouis.com. Drop us a line or tell us what you think at #Allman Report.
And here is what's trending out there on the interwebs. We call this the trend line. In the world of relatively unsurprising breaking news last night, someone was shot at the Chuck E. Cheese in St. Charles. Still, people posted their shock and prayers for the victim. The Kids Pizza chain was once named the most dangerous restaurant in America by the Wall Street Journal. St. Louis has been there, yes indeed, the snowmageddon that didn't quite materialize. If you were watching cable news, you'd think the East Coast is sitting under 3 feet of snow right now, but social media chatter making it out to be more like 3 inches. As you can see, even the naked cowboy in Times Square made it to work today. The big snows up east may have spoiled the fun for some folks in St. Louis here. All those people staying inside to survive snowmageddon must have crashed the internet during the storm. Some hackers said they did it, but site administrators say it was a technical problem on their end. A guy over in Clayton was mesmerized by an automatic window washer. Got to admit, it's pretty cool, though. Check it out. A couple of old buildings in Clayton are being torn down. An Instagram user snapping a couple of pics and posting them for you. The old St. Louis County Health Department building and the Guild are both being taken down for something new. And now, ladies and gentlemen, for the final word. You know, State Auditor Tom Schweik is nothing short of a man possessing superpowers. Why? He was able to keep a straight face when the MoDOT finance person responded to his audit. He said the department, which is asking for more money from taxpayers, by the way, could probably save more than $100,000 if they just drove more and stopped flying in the expensive state-owned airplanes. The MoDOT finance person said, yeah, well, you know, maybe that's true, but in the grand scheme of things, $100,000 is nothing compared to the millions we need for the roads. I'm thinking, really? You just said that? Now, let me ask you what $100,000 is in your grand scheme of things, people out there in TV land. It's probably above what you make a year. If you're a business person, it may be what you pay in taxes in a quarter. In your grand scheme of things, $100 grand is a lot of money. But only the government can act like $100,000 is just money you find in the folds of the couch, you know. The truth is, it's not a lot of money when you are talking millions, but the fact that $100,000 is not that much to the government guys and gals should give you pause and make you wonder just how seriously they take the management of the money they take from your paycheck. In the grand scheme of things, their response to the audit is indeed a bad sign. Thanks for tuning in for the Allman Report. Tomorrow morning, you can catch me on the radio, Allman in the Morning, on FM News Talk 97.1 from 5 to 9. And we'll see you back here at 5 o'clock and 10 for the Allman Report.